What's going on, everybody? It's AG here. Today, we're going to be covering a variety of topics. Main one, we're going to be talking about the top 5 teams in each power conference. So that's the ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC. Top 5 teams, power ranked. So not necessarily saying who's going to finish in the top 5 by the end of the season, but if these teams are playing each other, who I would tell you to bet on pretty much. Next topic, we're going to talk about Louisiana Tech headed to the Sun Belt Conference to replace Texas State. Who could possibly replace LA Tech in Conference USA? We'll talk about that. College Football 26, been out for a week now. I'm going to give you my brief review over it, kind of my quick thoughts. Now it's been out for a week, at least if you got early release. Then going to talk about what I watched last week. Talk about a little movie stuff. So Superman, I watched another movie. I watched a couple TV shows. We're going to talk about those. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Join me down in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts while we move along. Like this video if you enjoy what you see. And if you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. So starting off here, let's go ahead and talk about the top 5 teams in each Power 4 conference. Starting off in the ACC. Start off at the bottom, number 5, SMU. SMU made the playoff last year. Didn't look very good when they got there, but the majority of teams in round 1 kind of got manhandled, so that was to be expected. The main issue with them is they lose a lot from last year's team. Really the only guy they've got coming back that was a mainstay on that team production-wise is the quarterback, Jennings. And he's probably the one that looked the worst in the playoff game. It was like, man, they might want to go back to Preston Stone as bad as Jennings looks right now. So we'll see. Rhett Lashley's done a really good job there as far as reloading. So they're kind of a question mark for me. I think they could be good, but they could also really slip up and drop a lot. I don't have them in my preseason top 25. I'm going to put that out in a couple weeks, but SMU, we'll see. Right now, I got them number 5. Number 4, Georgia Tech. They, however, return a lot from last year. Quarterback and running back, Haynes King and quarterback, is a do-it-all quarterback, dual-threat guy that can win you ball games. We saw last year they can play with the big boys. They gave Georgia a run for their money in that last game of the season. Haynes King, if you remember, he was at A&M for a little bit, but he's good enough to, I won't necessarily say win this league because Clemson and Miami are so stacked, it's going to be tough. But I could fast forward to the end of the year, I could easily see Georgia Tech kind of in that probably top 15-ish, kind of fighting for that last playoff spot. I could definitely see that happening. I think they're a big sleeper this year. Number 3, Louisville. Jeff Brom, number 1, is probably the most underrated coach in the country. The dude has Louisville in the top 25 year in and year out. Now he's there. Backtrack to what he did at Purdue and what they're doing now. I mean, the guy, he's an animal. He's one of the best coaches there is. But that roster has improved. They got Isaac Brown. Why can't I not talk right now? Isaac Brown back at running back. You've got Miller Moss coming in at quarterback from USC. Louisville should be good once again. I've got them, I think, in my top 15 the last time I looked in my preseason top 25. As for the top 2, number 2, we've got Miami. Roster is going to be loaded. That's for sure, as always. Carson Beck comes in at quarterback to replace Cam Ward. Now, Cam Ward, number 1 draft pick in the NFL for a reason. But I think Carson Beck, while Cam Ward put out production, I think Carson Beck is going to translate more to wins than Cam Ward did. Is it going to be as flashy? No. Is he going to be able to run as fast? No. But Carson Beck wins games. We've seen that at Georgia. Mario Cristobal has a pretty good roster built together. Mario Cristobal really is my only question here because he can put together a good roster, but his on the field coaching stuff, a little questionable. But Miami, I think, probably going to be in the playoff this year. Go look at their schedule. They probably can go undefeated realistically. Miami, I think, will be in the playoff. Number 1, Clemson. This team, absolutely loaded. This is probably Dabo's best team he's had since Trevor Lawrence left. They've got like 6 to 8 guys that could realistically go in the first round of the NFL draft next year. And that's what you need. You need guys in the trenches that can go up against Georgia, against Texas, against Alabama, and be able to hold their own against Michigan. And Clemson's got those guys. Cade Klubnik, multiple year starter now. He's been there, made the playoff last year. Dabo, I think this is a year that Clemson's probably going to be legit once again. All right, moving on to the Big 12 here. Oh, wait, hold on. Before I do that, I want to talk about some honorable mentions in the ACC. Honorable mention was, there's a few teams like NC State, Virginia Tech, and Pitt, all kind of all kind of in that range. I think that probably not going to win the conference, but could beat one of these teams if one of them slips up. Besides Clemson and Miami, I think the rest of the teams are probably beatable. Louisville and Georgia Tech, I think, are good too, but those other teams, though, I think could finish anywhere 3 through 5. All right, let's move on to the Big 12. This actually changed as of when I was making this video because BYU's quarterback's gone. If you know all that story, I'm not going to really get into it here, but basically he got suspended from BYU for like half the season and transferred uh, for having premarital relations. So they've dropped for me. BYU fans insist that they're going to be just fine without him. We'll see. But I was really high on BYU. I thought they were going to be a playoff team this year. No matter who their backup quarterback it is, I think they're going to take a step back without their starter. They have to. But coming in number 5 is BYU. They have a good roster. They've got a good coach, but we'll see what they do with the quarterback position. Number 4, Baylor, a team that's not getting talked about a lot, but they return a ton of pieces. I'll admit I'm questionable on Dave Aranda. I have not been super impressed with him as the head coach, but what they have on the roster, they've got 2 running backs that can easily go for over 1,000 yards rushing. Got their quarterback back. Go look at their schedule last year. Not really any bad losses. Baylor is a team that I think needs to be talked about a little more that could realistically win the Big 12. Number 3. So the top 3, I think you could flip in any order. And I had BYU in that tier as well before the quarterback issue. But number 3, I've got Arizona State. Made the playoff last year, but they lose their best player. Scatabo has gone to the NFL. They've got 2 guys that are getting first-round NFL draft buzz this year, their quarterback and their receiver. Sam Levitt's going to have to take a big step up because without Scatabo, it's going to be a different brand of offense. Now, I like the way Kenny Dillingham has recruited these receivers. He's got big receivers that Sam Levitt can throw it up to. But again, without Scatabo, they're going to have to play a little different brand of football than they did last year. And that in itself, asking somebody to step up like that is going to be tough. They got the experience last year in the playoff, but it's not easy. It's easier said than done. Number 2, Kansas State. Avery Johnson is back again at quarterback. Really good dual threat guy. This is probably Chris Kleiman's best roster he's had there. Really been a little bit of a disappointment since Avery Johnson kind of came on the scene and Chris Kleiman came on the scene. Thought they'd be a little better last year. They weren't, but Kansas State, I've got number 2. That roster is pretty good. Number 1, easily for me right now, is Iowa State. Matt Campbell, I would say this is his best team he has had as far as multiple year starters. You've got 2 running backs similar to Baylor that can go for over 1,000 yards. Rocco Beck back at quarterback once again. And this roster, I like the way it looks. Like I said, multiple year starters, which really helps you when you get further in the season, when you're getting in the dog days of the season, when you're getting tired. You've got guys that have been there before, that have been on this grind before, that are going to be able to lead that team. Honorable mentions in the Big 12, Texas Tech, that's an obvious one. They're kind of another one similar to Chris Kleiman is Joey McGuire. I thought they'd be better last year, but they weren't. So maybe this is the year. I know they're really opening up the NIL pockets, so we'll see. TCU, another team to keep an eye on. Kind of been downhill since they made that championship. Another team is Kansas. Kansas has high upside with Daniels, but Leipold, even more than Kleiman and Joey McGuire, just has disappointed for me as head coach. But last year, they beat the good teams and lost to the bad teams on a little questionable. All right, so moving on here to the Big 10. Top 5 for me, USC. I think you can make an argument that USC could be number 4. Right now, I've got them at 5, though, till they prove it. Excuse me, I get a drink right here. Lincoln Riley, it hadn't been the greatest success at USC, let alone going to the Big 10, but their quarterback they've got now, Jaden Maiva, actually looked pretty good when he came in at the end of the year. Only loss that he had was to Notre Dame, and that was a pretty close loss. He's 2-1 or 3-1 as a starter. Their defense, I think, has improved this year through the portal. They've improved their strength and conditioning program with a different hire by Lincoln Riley. I won't say his best team he's had because with Caleb Williams, you had that. But I think this team's super improved. I think this team could go on a run. Now, their schedule's pretty brutal, but I think they can play with anybody in the Big 10. Number 4, Oregon. They are kind of a question mark for me because they lose so much from last year's roster. Number 1, pretty much the majority of last season, but they lose their quarterback, Dylan Gabriel. They've got a new running back, Mekhi Hughes, coming over from Tulane. So we'll see. But they lost so many pieces that it's kind of like, all right, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, Dan Lanning, that you can win at Oregon, but it's going to be a different roster. We'll see what happens. Number 3, Michigan. Last year, not the greatest year. I'm going to attack by a ladybug. Hold on. Not the greatest year. I think I got it. Not the greatest year, but Michigan has improved in the quarterback room, and that was their big question mark last year. Their big kind of disappointment. They had a run game, they had a defense, they just couldn't throw the ball worth anything. They've added 2 quarterbacks, Mikey Keenan, Bryce Underwood, 5-star quarterback. No matter which one of those guys it ends up being, it's going to be better than it was last year because last year they didn't even have a downfield threat. They're going to have that this year. They're going to be able to throw the ball downfield, and I think they're going to be able to make some noise. Looking at their schedule, I think this team could realistically go undefeated, or if Ryan Day can get the monkey off his back, 1 loss to Ohio State, make the playoff. Michigan, I like their roster this year. Sharon Moore, we'll see. He went on that run, kind of that 1 year Jim Harbaugh was out, but since then, last year, it was kind of iffy. But I think Michigan's going to be good this year. Number 2, Ohio State. Right now, I can't put them at 1 just because they lost so much from the last year's national championship team. You got to replace your 2 DNs, Jack Sawyer, JT. You got to replace your running back room, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson. You got to replace Ibuka out wide. Julian Sand, how is he going to look at quarterback? Is he going to be better than Will Howard? Maybe. Good news is they still have arguably the 2 best players in the country, Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith. Ryan Day, pretty consistent there. Can't beat Michigan, but pretty consistent as far as winning. I think Ohio State will be just fine, be back in the playoff. Number 1, I've got Penn State. They're actually number 1 right now for me in my preseason rankings out of the whole country. Drew Aller, I mean, he's been iffy, but he's got the tools to be good. They've got 2 running backs, Allen and Singleton, that are legit. Got an awesome defense, as always. James Franklin, I would say similar to Ryan Day, except he can't beat Ohio State. That's kind of his big if. But, I mean, if they can replace Tyler Warren's production on offense, and they've done a good job adding downfield threats for Aller because he had nobody to pass to but Tyler Warren last year. They've added those threats. So I think their offense will be a little improved because they've still got their both running backs back. So they're going to be able to run the football. They're going to be playing good defense. They got Jim Knowles, Ohio State's DC, to come over. They're going to be legit on D. So I think Penn State's the best team in the country right now. Honorable mentions, Nebraska. Matt Rule, it always clicks for him, and his team's the 3rd year he is there. So we'll see if that happens. They've got a solid roster. They've got the quarterback Raiola that's been pretty solid. Another team is Minnesota. Go look at what they did last year. Actually, a pretty good year. Probably the most slept on year last year. Like they were, like top 25-ish worthy. Next up, Illinois. Illinois is a team that probably is going to be in the playoff, but power ranking wise, I don't have them in my top 5. But as far as the end of the season finish, Illinois will probably be in the top 5. Really, last year, backtracking, if they wouldn't have lost to Minnesota, they probably would have been in the playoff. But yeah, those are the 5 in the Big Ten for me. Moving on to the SEC. Number 5, Alabama. Kalen DeBoer, I don't know. He can win. We've seen that at Washington, but last year, really questionable, man. Like for a half against Georgia, they look like undeniably the best team in the country. After that, it was just like, what the heck is going on here? Lost to Vanderbilt. It's just questionable stuff from Kalen DeBoer, and they lost some guys to the pros. So it's going to be more of his system guys now. But we'll see, man. If they couldn't win with that roster last year, I don't know. They've still got NFL talent, so they've got a chance, but really questionable stuff. Number 4, LSU, I think getting a little overrated right now. Garrett Nussmeier has been a multiple-year starter, but go look at his stats, man. Puts up really good numbers, but I won't say garbage time stats, but he puts up good numbers against the weak competition. Go compare the SEC stats versus the non-SEC stats, completely different animal. Brian Kelly, I mean, he's a pretty good coach, I think, but just hadn't got it done at LSU. Now, They've got multiple guys returning for multiple years, so I mean, this is one of his better rosters he's had, if not the best. But I don't know. If not now, they'll win for LSU. Number 3, South Carolina. Shane Beamer, this is definitely his best team he's had at South Carolina. Lenore Sellers, probably going to be the first pick in the NFL draft next year. Can do it all. He can throw it. He can run it. Built like a tank. And the run they went on at the end of last year, they were pretty like this close to making the playoff last year. Go look at their schedule. I think South Carolina goes undefeated this year. And again, this ranking doesn't have anything to do with that, but they've got a legitimate chance to be in the SEC championship. Now, the top 2 are clear 1 and 2 for me. Now, you could argue the order. 2, I've got Georgia. Really talented roster, as always, under Kirby Smart, but I need to see a little more from Gunnar Stockton. He looked good, I thought, in the playoff game. Just it really wasn't on him. It was the skill guys, the weapons they had. The receivers could not catch the ball with anything. So if they improve that, they're going to be good on defense. They're going to have talent all over the field. It's really just the little things for them, replacing their running back room also. But 2, Georgia, they'll be in the playoff again. Number 1, I've got Texas. But again, you could flop Texas and Georgia. I wouldn't argue with you either way. Lose Quinn Ewers. Not the flashiest, but he went to back-to-back semifinals and then college football playoff, and probably one play away both years from winning and going to the Natty. So we'll see on Arch Manning. I think he's getting a little overhyped right now. Like in the games I watched last year, he looked good, but it was against really weak competition, so kind of hard to tell. I mean, I could probably throw for 200 plus against whatever team they were playing with the roster Texas has, but they've got to replace some pieces on offense, but their running back room is legit. Trey Wisner stepped in for CJ Baxter last year and really went off. So they've got CJ Baxter back now, but Wisner proved he can handle the load. Defensively, going to have probably a top 3 defense in the country. So they're going to be legit there. The real question mark for me is the weapons on offense, receivers, tight end, you got to replace all those spots. So we'll see, as well as quarterback, obviously. Honorable mentions here, Vanderbilt. I think Diego Pavia back. This is a good Vanderbilt team that can make some noise in the SEC. Schedule's brutal, so probably not going to be able to crack into the playoff, but I like Vanderbilt. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin always has that team around 10 wins, but if he couldn't win and make the playoff with that roster last year, it's probably not going to happen because it's significantly weaker than last year. Another team for me is Florida. DJ Lagway gets the run at quarterback. Billy Napier got the extra year, and I think it's going to pay off for him. I think Florida could be in the playoff. Another team to keep an eye on is probably A&M. Mike Elko did a solid job in year 1. So they're a team I think that you might want to keep an eye on. Other than that, though, I mean, Auburn might be okay. I don't think there's anybody I'm missing. OU isn't in the discussion for me. Brent Venables, I don't know why they extended him. But on all those top 5s, if I missed on anybody, let me know down in the comment section. Anybody you would add, anybody you would take off, any of that good stuff. All right, so moving on to our next topic here. We've got Louisiana Tech moving to the Sun Belt. So they're replacing Texas State, which obviously, headed to the Pac-12. So they're headed there to be their 14th member. Now, Conference USA is going to be scrambling now, like to replace LA Tech. They also lost El Paso to the Mountain West to replace all those teams that went to the Pac-12. So Conference USA is looking for somebody. The rumor right now is they're probably going to look into Texas, which I don't blame them. Anytime that you can get a foothold in like Texas, Florida, or California to somewhat help your recruiting, it's going to benefit you. Right now, it looks like they're going after Tarleton State. Let me highlight this for y'all down here. Tarleton State. Right now, they're in the WAC, I believe. Now, Tarleton State, we'll see. Because you're kind of the bottom dweller right now, probably if you're Conference USA. So you're not going to be able to pull anybody from another FBS school. So you're going to have to go to the FCS ranks. Right now, it looks like Tarleton. We'll see. But Louisiana Tech going to the Sun Belt, I think it's a solid ad, because it's just the pecking order here. Pac-12 and American Conference are at the top. Mountain West probably above everybody else. What I mean? And then obviously the Sun Belt is above Conference USA, and I think the MAC is probably in the Conference USA territory as well. But hopefully the MAC can hold on for a little bit. But we'll see what happens. Louisiana Tech, they're headed to uh, the Sun Belt. Got approved today, but again, I don't think the date's been for sure, but it looks like 2026 probably. So probably next season. All right, so moving on to the next thing we've got here, which is college football 26. Came out last week, I guess a week ago today on Monday, if you got early release, which I did. So let's talk about it a little bit, then we'll look at IGN's review. Actually, let's look at IGN's review first, and I'll tell you my thoughts. Let's see what they gave it. I think I saw, there you go. They gave it a 7. Let's see. I found myself thinking a lot about the guy that I overheard who's buying a $500 console just to play college football 25. No, that's college football 25 review. Excuse me. Let's look at the highlights on that's terrible content right here. I know. Let's see what they said. Better defenders can now make plays average ones can't. Very true. So let's go ahead and talk about my review. Screw it. We won't worry about IGN. My review for this game so far solid. I really think college football 25 flows better as far as the gameplay. They added something if you saw like when a defender is chasing and like if they throw the ball my head's turned around, you shouldn't be able to pick it. Well, that's kind of an issue. It's really inconsistent. Like I've been doing a dynasty against the CPU, obviously, and I've gotten a head tap probably like 50 times by the CPU. Like Texas Tech last night? Yeah, Texas Tech last night had like a 5-7 receiver just kept on head tapping me. It was like I'm not even trying to pick it. I'm just pressing square to swat the ball, and it can't happen. Like I was even in position once, like I boxed him out and pressed SWAT and just completely misses the ball. So issues on that. Another thing, picks in general, like sometimes it'll just hit your guy in the hands and you drop it, which that's always been an issue. But a lot of drops on this one, unless you use it the guy, which I always use it the guy. But I've heard from people that have been doing their Road to Glory. I haven't done Road to Glory yet, but I've heard it's pretty good. You can pick, I guess, like if you're going to be a underrated guy, like a 1-star or a mid tier or a superstar. But I've heard it's pretty good. But the CPU doesn't help you out at all. Like they can't catch worth of crap. But I do like on this one, I've been doing Dynasty, that Heisman is actually tough. Like usually give me a year or two in recruiting and Heisman isn't going to matter. You're going to be able to beat the crap out of everybody anyway. But Heisman, you actually lose games. So now I started as like a DC at Missouri State in my Dynasty, but I've moved on to, where'd I go? I was head coach at Troy for a year, and now I'm at Houston. Made the national champ. Oh, I've got another grab coming up. Yeah, made the national championship. Played Georgia. Their kicker drills a 61-yard field goal with ease to win the game as time expires. CPU kicking on this game is unreal, man. I'm convinced they can make a 70-yarder. Like I've had multiple 60-plus hits on me with length to go. Like that's a joke. I mean, come on now. Haven't gotten any online play yet. I might do that, but online usually just pisses me off on college football. Who we kidding? I've got my best friend. We do Ultimate Team a lot on there. I haven't done that yet, but last year I was the defense and he was the offense. So he was the defense, I was the offense. So we just stack those and then play against people. Should probably give that a shot this week. But overall, I mean, it's a solid game. It's fun. I put a lot of hours into it last week, obviously, but so far I give it like a 8.5 out of 10 probably. Solid game. I think 25 might be better. I don't know. I'd have to think. I think at the start of last year's 25, though, I think I'd had some gripes. So probably right in that same tier. But overall, I think it's good. I've enjoyed it a lot. I like the movement's different. The blocking feels better, in my opinion, like more realistic as far as the gameplay. But if they can fix a couple things, it'll be 9.5 out of 10 for me. Got to fix the getting head tab by CPU, and then the CPU just nailing the 70-plus field goals really pissing me off. All right, so let's talk about what I watched last week. Starting off, Superman. Superman, new James Gunn movie, starting the DCU. This is one that has been talked about for a while. They ended up not bringing back Henry Cavill. James Gunn comes over from Marvel, is the new head of the DCU, starting his whole new universe. The DCU's done. So Superman right now on Letterboxd. Let me see what it's sitting at. How do I see the scores? I think last time I looked, it was like a four. Oh, here we go, right here. 4 out of 5 so far. So pretty good there. It's gotten really high reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that. And my thoughts on it, I mean, I thought it was enjoyable. As a movie, it was entertaining. But here, let's look at my review while we're at it. Um, let's see. Let's see my review. I'm gonna pull it up earlier. There we go. All right, so my review. All right, different take on Superman. Lots of comedy. Very true. Entertaining movie, but didn't feel like a Superman movie. Comedy wise, James Gunn, number one, I really enjoy as a director. I like Guardians and Guardians 3. But this one just he went overboard on the comedy. It almost felt Thor Ragnarokish to me. Like there wasn't a moment of breathing room for seriousness, like the whole time anything serious is going on, it's got to end with a gag. Superman, I thought David Cornsweet did a good job. I really thought the cast as a whole did a pretty good job, but um again, just too much comedy. The movie flies at a super pace, bouncing around, and it feels like a comic book movie, like a lot of people will say, as far as stuff sprinkled in throughout, like he fights a freaking kaiju. But I don't know, it didn't really work for me. I can see why people enjoy it. It was definitely entertaining. It made me laugh a lot. Like Jimmy Olsen, the guy playing him, he's the son in Righteous Gemstones, Skylar something. I can't remember his name. But he was really funny as Jimmy Olsen. Lex Luthor, I thought Nicholas Hoult did an awesome job as Lex Luthor. The cast as a whole was good. I didn't have any gripes with them, but the movie itself, I don't know. We'll see if the whole DCU is going to be this tone. I've heard it's not going to be. James Gunn says it's not going to be, so we'll see. But I don't know. It's worked for me in spots, didn't work for me in spots as well. Like, I don't know. The whole trapped in like this universe thing. I won't get into spoilers here, but trapped in this alternate universe thing I didn't like that. But it's definitely going for non-realistic, which is something that takes getting used to. I was a big fan of Man of Steel, but another thing with this one is that it just tries so hard it's a Superman movie, but it's bringing in so many people, the Justice Gang. It really doesn't focus that much on Superman or Clark Kent. Clark Kent's in it for like maybe 2 minutes of the movie. If that, probably 30 seconds even. But I mean, I gave it a positive review. You can see 3 out of 5 stars, so not bad. I'd give it a 6 out of 10 on my rating scale, but overall, okay. All right, so another movie I watched last week was The Founder. This is a movie that is basically based on McDonald's, the founding of McDonald's. The true story of how Ray Kroc, a salesman from Illinois, met Mac and Dick McDonald, who were running a burger operation in 1950s Southern California. Kroc was impressed by the brothers' speedy system of making the food and saw franchise potential. He maneuvered himself into a position to be able to pull the company from the brothers and create a billion-dollar empire. So basically, these guys, the McDonald brothers, kind of the first people to have like a walk-up window to get your food to go. So you get in the bag and then go. Before then, everybody got it basically where they come and hook. You order it kind of like at Sonic, and then they hook it on your window on your door. And so this was like revolutionary. He comes across this company, McDonald's, and then ends up, he's really crooked. Michael Keaton, who puts in an awesome performance, by the way, but really crooked, ends up kind of overthrowing them and kind of trying to steal their business. But let's look at my review real quick. So 4 out of 5 stars, 8 out of 10, really good movie. A fantastic performance from Michael Keaton. Insane that this is a true story. Ray Kroc was a piece of work. So Ray Kroc is Michael Keaton in this movie. It's pretty crazy that this is true. Like that, basically he ended up, I won't say blackmailing, but almost ended up blackmailing them out of owning their own company. Pretty crazy stuff. And Michael Keaton, the guy that he plays, he was a piece of work. He's a piece of crap too. But it was a really good movie. It's on what's it streaming on? It's streaming on something right now. I want to say I watched it on Netflix. Yeah, I think it's on Netflix right now, but overall pretty good movie. Another thing I watched this week, Dexter Resurrection. if you're a fan of Dexter, this show's right up your alley. Trust me. Dexter's back. This follows up Dexter New Blood. Won't get into spoilers on that, but Dexter's resurrected, and it's you got Batista coming back. You've got a lot of characters from the original Dexter coming back. New Blood was kind of a departure, like it just had Dexter. He was kind of the only person from the mainstays. This is pretty much a mixture of both, and it's got his son Harrison in it again. But Dexter getting tracked down by Batista, kind of don't know where that's going to lead. We'll see. But the first two episodes released last week, and I enjoyed what I saw. You've got some questionable stuff as far as yeah, they probably should have thought about this before they ended New Blood the way they did. But overall, though, overall worth the watch. If you like Dexter, definitely gonna watch this on Paramount Plus. Last thing I watched, Saturday night's main event, not WrestleMania, wrestling, WWE. Seth Rollins got hurt. That's what's talking about here. But the main match was Goldberg and Gunther. Overall, I thought it was pretty good. The match itself, Goldberg usually doesn't go over like 5 minutes, for a match. So didn't think that was going to happen. I don't know if they altered course because of Seth Rollins getting hurt against LA Knight, but match ends up running like 20 minutes. And overall, I thought it was pretty good. I didn't like the presentation of they cut off Goldberg's retirement speech. And I'm not a huge Goldberg fan. I don't think he's a very good wrestler, but they cut off Goldberg's retirement speech, which was weird. John Cena's last match is supposed to be on Saturday night main event at the end of the year. So hopefully they don't do the same thing there. I don't know, questionable, ton of ads. Wrestling's getting tough to watch, man. It's going downhill. Evolution was pretty good last night, but heading downhill. SummerSlam's coming up in a couple weeks though, so we'll see. But next week, we've got Shark Week starting in a week from today. So that should be something to watch, but we'll see. But that's all the stuff we're talking about today, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section on anything we talked about. I know it's a pretty big variety of topics, but I was trying out something new. I've kind of tried to focus on college sports lately because it works better for the YouTube algorithm, I'll be honest. But I like talking about movies. I like talking about games too. So I kind of try to mix some of that in. If that's something you might be interested in, like a full length video like this, like once a week on like Sundays or Mondays, that's something I might start doing. Just putting out a full video and then putting out clips throughout the week of, each segment. Maybe if that's something you might be interested in, let me know down in the comment section. You can be honest with me. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. Like, nah, I'd really just focus on this. Be honest with me. It's all right. But let me know your thoughts on anything we talked about today. Like I said, if you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button for me. It does help this channel out a lot. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a thumbs up.